All right. How do you hold yourself and other solo white practitioners accountable to Black and brown social justice workers? So I had the incredible honor to co-found the Social Justice Training Institute 20 years ago. Can you believe it? And so a couple times a year, I'm in spaces where we're doing dismantling racism work. We're expanding our faculty. So I'm no longer the only faculty who is white. But in those sessions, we're often learning new skills, giving each other feedback, and then there's so much time to say, okay, this is what's going on. And so I have deep accountability when I'm there. And then throughout the year, those are some of my dear friends and colleagues that I often will check in with. And there are a few others that I might be co-presenting with. And then I listen and invite feedback. Some colleagues of mine have done white affinity work, weekend workshops for staff, faculty, and students at colleges. And they partner with groups of color facilitators to do that same work for folks that are multiracial, biracial, indigenous, folks that are monoracial, people of color. And I think it was racial aikido might have been the language that the folks of color, when they first developed, and the whites were like, ooh, white students need this work, so that we're partnering. And so they made sure that they talked to the folk of color and said, we're thinking of this, what do you think? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, would you be willing to, if we brought a sketch of a design with outcomes, to give some feedback? We're not asking you to teach us, and we want to have an accountability process. And the folks of color were like, yeah. So use that same model, or the people in the community, people in your organization who would be accountability partners, and then have it be a barter. And so if in a month you're spending an hour with folk, how can you share resources? How can you say, I'll do a 2-3 hour training for one of your organizations as a thank you? Because you might have had 4 people each give you an hour, so that's like 4 hours at least. So make sure you're offering, how can I acknowledge and thank you and compensate, or I'd like to. And if there's anything I can ever do, I do these kind of workshops, glad to do it pro bono. Those are some thoughts.